From KPIX, CBS News Bay Area, we take a look into the string of crimes and trouble in Oakland, dining room closures, and burglaries.
We are following breaking news out of Oakland tonight, where there were reports of a car that was stolen with a young child inside. Our chopper is live over the scene.
A car stolen with a young child inside. And I've also seen stories of people stealing cars with their kids, and when the cars get recovered, there's EBT cards and crayons and cartoon drawings, coloring books in the car because somebody is committing crimes with their kids. I mean, it's a lose-lose.
Where the vehicle was recovered a short time ago. You can see that vehicle right there. This is in the 1400 block of East 15th Street. We're going to keep following this story for you and bring you any new developments.
And so it looks like they weren't even planning on reporting that story in this segment, but it just happened to break. So they figured they'd throw it in there and say more on that later.
We also begin in Oakland, where yet another restaurant chain is going to extreme lengths to keep staff and customers safe. Good evening.
Another restaurant chain. So, of course, the political regime and their heavy-handed Rona restrictions shut down a bunch of businesses. If they made it through that, then they were targeted by thugs and targeted again by the political regime in California for crazy rules. Oh, you can't use a plastic gift card. You can't use a plastic straw. And this is crazy. The priorities are so backwards that it is obvious, it is crystal clear that this is well beyond incompetence and far deep into the realm of abject evil.
Evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook. Several Taco Bell locations in the city are now closing their dining rooms and switching to drive-through only. Our John Ramos looks into the problems prompting the change.
This Taco Bell on 35th Avenue in Oakland has been robbed
They could have had me do this. If they just got a guy with a road mic and a hoodie, I could do this. And far more authentic and truthfully than these hacks.
times since November. The owners of the franchise
Hold
have
on, go
decided
back. How many
that
times?
enough. This Taco Bell on 35th Avenue in Oakland has been robbed 4 times since November. The owners of the franchise...
Which actually ain't bad when you compare it to some of the other businesses that have been robbed 4 times in 4 weeks in a month. So, all in all, right, the bar is really low.
...have decided that enough is enough. Plywood still covers the window from 3 weeks ago when robbers used a pickup truck and cable to steal a safe from the Taco Bell at 35th and MacArthur.
It kind of sounds like an inside job. I mean, who robs a taco? Or I guess, times is tough. Don't get me wrong. Bidenomics, Biden's America. But who robs a Taco Bell, right? I mean, in 2024, you'd have to assume that most of the Taco Bell transactions are done with some sort of debit card. You know, EBT card, SNAP card.
Of the 4 robberies the store has endured in as many months, 2 of them occurred when the restaurant was open for business. Kimberly Garibe works at the Metro Wireless store across the street.
They just pull up out of nowhere, and it's not like it's only they're robbing the store, they rob everybody in there as well. So it's not as safe.
So they rob the store and the people who are trying to enjoy a little Taco Bell. Dark.
How it used to be.
It's like robbing an Uber driver, right? Like, he's trying to get by, he's trying to make it. You can assume that most Uber drivers aren't filthy rich. And what, you're going to take their cell phone? They're doing Uber, a completely cashless job. That's also happened. Not what this is about, though.
A lot of crime now.
With that in mind, the owner of the franchise, a company called Diversified Restaurant Group, has closed the dining rooms at all 4 of their Taco Bells in Oakland, including this one on a crime-ridden section of Hagenberger Road. That leaves a Taco Bell on Telegraph, owned by another company, as the only place people can eat indoors. And that restaurant has gone...
No, don't get me... Oh, and that restaurant has gone cashless. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't really enjoy dining in Taco Bell. It's like a double-edged sword, right? If you eat Taco Bell, you get a 10-minute window. By the time you get home, it's all bad. But you don't want to eat in there, especially in the Bay Area, where the fast food restaurants have been bum magnets for years. I remember the McDonald's up on Haight Street. I don't think that's still there, But it was just, I mean, it was like flies to light. You couldn't eat in that McDonald's, and it was right next to the different story.
Cashless to try to prevent robberies.
It's sad that it got to the point where they can't even allow people inside because they get robbed.
DRG wouldn't comment today, but
So if you go inside, you could get robbed by the person who's also robbing the store, and your car could get broken into. So the game's rigged against you.
Taco Bell Corporation issued a statement saying, quote, "The franchise owner and operator has informed us that they are consistently evaluating and working to ensure a safe environment by implementing procedures such as closing dining rooms and hiring security guards, and they have taken extra measures to
Security guards at Taco Bell?
meet with local law enforcement," end quote. Now, service is only provided through the drive-up window, which was a problem for a woman named Miss Joe, who doesn't own a car and had to ask a friend to drive her to get her lunch.
I don't think it's cool.
Duh. I didn't even think about that. What about people who don't even have a car? Like the Rona testing facility all the way back in Flatbush, Brooklyn was drive-through only. There was a handful of junior college kids in oversized orange vests shoving Q-tips up people's noses, but you had to have a car. You couldn't be on a scooter, and somebody tried to walk up. He got turned away. Somebody got turned away on a scooter, and I know this because I became frenemies with the virus employees, as I like to call them. But there was a point in time where they had suggested somebody get an Uber to get tested for the super deadly. I mean, think about that. We put this testing facility in the hood to save the black and brown people, but you got to have a car. And in New York, as most people know, if you get a good parking spot, you don't leave for days. So you put it in the hood to help the black people, in a lot of Caribbean island vibe, in Flatbush. But you put it there to help the black people. You tell them they have to have a car. You tell them they have to make an appointment. And if you don't have a car, then you should get an Uber and possibly put that Uber driver in danger if what you're telling me is true. And, of course, that is about Rona, but this is about Taco Bell.
It's annoying, though. It's annoying, yeah.
So what do you feel about them closing the dining rooms and saying,
yes.
we're too afraid?
That's what they should be afraid, true. But I just feel bad for the patrons, you know what I'm saying.
But as annoying as it may be, most just see it as a sad reminder of how bad things have gotten in their town.
It breaks my heart.
Why?
Because I want somebody to protect the citizens.
You can't, enjoy your meal in the comfort of the place you bought your meal in. So it's like them.
Well, that's correct, but it probably wouldn't be that comfortable. Who are we kidding, right? I mean, this is, I guess this is like when, people were boycotting Bud Light. It's like, okay, well, stop drinking beer, I guess. You kind of got to find the silver lining in these awful situations.
Closing it down due to, all the crime rates and everything. I don't know, honestly. It's just, what is this Oakland coming to? Everything is just getting worse. Things are closing down. It's just terrible.
It's not a new problem, but it is a problem that appears to be getting worse every day.
Well, at least for now, Taco Bell Corporation says there are no plans to shut any of the restaurants down completely.
At least for now, we're going to stick around at half capacity. All right, step in the right direction.
But Taco Bell isn't the only chain stopping indoor dining in Oakland. Last year, Raising Cane's near the Oakland airport closed its dining room. In-N-Out has also announced it's closing completely due to crime. Their last day is on March 24th.
Neighbor Dejanay Cunningham says someone abandoned this SUV in front of her apartment building about a year ago. And someone dropped off this Hyundai Sonata on the same block roughly 4 months ago.
Yeah, definitely embarrassing.
Not just an eyesore and blight, but with multiple apartment buildings on the block, they're taking up valuable real estate.
It's hard to find parking.
That's crazy. And there's a bunch of burned out cars all around Oakland. And I would always wonder, where, because you see these dumped cars, some of them burned out, some of them just destroyed, whatever, obviously taken for a joyride or something. But how did a burned out car just end up on the street, right? So was a bum lighting it for warmth? Was it the remnants of a sideshow? How did this happen? It seems like it actually takes a lot of work to ditch a burned out car somewhere, but I don't know. I've never done it.
The abandoned vehicles are parked in front of 2905.
Oh, and we have to censor that graffiti because that could certainly offend somebody.
Bonner Street in the Fruitvale district. One neighbor says she reported the cars to 311 last year, but the city has not taken action. 2 weeks ago, one fed-up neighbor tagged Councilman Noel Gallo's name and some bad words on the cars to draw attention.
I don't take it personal, and I understand people's frustration, but at the same time, there's only so much that I can do and we can do.
Councilman Gallo says his staff...
So that's actually pretty clever. There's some people that would do some pretty crude graffiti around potholes, and then they would get taken care of. And this guy chose to spray paint the name of a city council member on one of the cars, and boom, they show up. Not bad.
Received a complaint from the neighbors 2 weeks ago, and they immediately flagged the transportation department, which handles these vehicles. But he says many city contracted tow yards are full, and the department is overwhelmed by the amount of abandoned and stolen cars.
And the insurance companies are backing out. Now, the good folks over at CBS News Bay Area would probably have you believe insurance companies are leaving because of climate change, but really it's because there's so much backup. So many cars are getting stolen, and they're now at the point where they can't even tell a real case from a fraudulent case. So many cars are being stolen. One crime, leads to another crime. Like the criminal politicians lead to criminal citizens. So if cars are getting stolen so much, that's one bad thing, but it's happening so often that insurance companies are leaving. 911 doesn't work, and since the 911 doesn't work, you can now commit more fraud, right? So it's a vicious cycle.
Some of the locations where they're towing vehicles are full. And so we're trying to identify other properties that we can tow the vehicles to.
The city prioritizes abandoned cars that block driveways and streets. Given the lack of staffing and resources, one city worker tells me these cars may have to wait longer. Oakland police report last year they recorded almost 15,000 stolen cars.
I will be there tomorrow morning. Even if I have to get a private company to get it towed, I will get them towed.
Neighbors like these.
And there you go. So it sounds like he's sort of being tough, but at the end he's saying, I'll pay for it myself if they don't do it, which means they win again.
They say they welcome any help to clean up their neighborhood.
Yeah, the street sweeper and be able to clean the street.
Another neighbor tells me homeless people would sometimes sleep in these abandoned cars. That's made her family feel...
What's wrong with this guy? He's being super... I mean, it's a pretty awful story, but seems like he's being a little bit extra dramatic too, but neither here nor there.
Very unsafe.
Well, police in the East Bay are investigating a couple of brazen burglaries over the course of 2 days. Thieves used a truck to ram their way in and steal an ATM Friday at the Aisle 1 gas station market on Blanding Avenue. The night before, burglars used a van to drag the safe out of an Oakland jewelry repair store about 4 miles away on Grand Avenue.
So it's creeping, right? I've actually made the point before that as soon as you cross this little body of water here from Oakland into Alameda, it's basically like night and day. If you go over the High Street Bridge, you'll see it's a shanty town, right? Like broken down RVs, people hanging out outside of Home Depot looking for work, the newcomers, the asylum seekers, but it's clearly spreading. There's another story about an armed robbery. I guess it's down this way, but down in San Lorenzo, which is, I guess, southeast of Oakland. So it is definitely spreading because word is getting out that crime is so bad and the cops will barely fix it. But I mean, Oakland's been completely run dry by politicians and thugs. But I repeat myself, so now slowly it is going to creep out of Oakland into the neighboring cities, quite clearly.
But as Dot Lynn tells us, in both cases, for all their efforts, the thieves got away empty-handed.
I'm told investors...
So they're just stealing stuff and breaking stuff, destroying things, and getting nothing out of it.
Investigators from the two police departments are sharing notes. While the two cases have similarities, it's unclear if they're connected. This is surveillance footage of the first burglary at Grand Jewelry Repair near Oakland's Lake Merritt. Happened on Thursday morning around 3:45 a.m. 2 vehicles and 5 burglars. The store owner's son, Christopher Tran, says they used this van and a rope to drag open the metal gate. Once inside, they used the same rope to try to drag a large safe out.
But it snapped, so they took a heavy metal chain, put that over the safe, and then that's when they were able to drag it out.
The safe was so heavy, it took them a while to secure and tie it to the back of the van.
The safe, they couldn't quite get it into.
Well, yeah, okay. So they're trying to steal a safe, but unfortunately, if this is how they are procuring the safe, I can't imagine they would be able to get into where they're going to shoot at it with a gun. How are they going to get into this thing?
To the utility truck. So it's dragging, so you see a bunch of sparks. As they actually would get on the freeway, PD was right behind them. So I think that's why they kind of dropped it, because it's heavy, so, you know, it's weighing down the car.
The burglars took off and left behind the safe in the middle of the road. Police recovered the safe, which contained thousands of dollars in jewelry and watches. The jewelry repair shop also...
So, of course, they didn't get away with it. And okay, so I guess this is a happy ending, right? Like, oh, the burglars didn't get away, and the safe that contained thousands of dollars worth of jewelry was returned. I mean, think about how low the bar has really gotten. Like, this, in Oakland, this is actually a happy ending.
Also experienced significant damage when the burglars dragged the safe through the store. The owner, Mr. Tran, was in tears when he saw the damage on Thursday.
So this shop, 34 years, all my life in there. I raised my kids.
34 years. We are closed until further notice.
But now I don't know if we're going to come back.
Now he's thinking about a retirement. The only thing that sucks is, you know, it's kind of more like a forced retirement because he doesn't feel safe.
It's the second costly burglary in 3 years at the store. The immigrant who escaped the war in Vietnam says they can't seem to escape the crime in...
And you see how he slipped that in there? An immigrant who escaped Vietnam many, many years ago is just the same as a border hopper from 2022.
Oakland.
Thank you all the customer supporter until now, 34 years. Thank you very much.
Nearby in Alameda, authorities say on Friday morning around 4:30, burglars used a U-Haul truck to back into aisle 1's glass doors.
In Alameda, so once again, or I don't know if this is the story they already mentioned, but it is undoubtedly going to spread. And I guess there was a story about how the Alameda police were offering this big sign-on bonus for cops. So it seems like Alameda is still going to be a little bit better than Oakland, but they're going to try it.
They then used a chain to drag an ATM machine out of the gas station store.
I feel kind of desensitized. I feel like this is kind of a normal occurrence in the Bay Area, and it's sad to feel like that.
Alameda police say they were able to quickly recover the truck and the ATM in Oakland. But in both cases, the burglars got away. The Tran family says these burglaries are killing small businesses.
Yeah, and that's what the regime is trying to do. Was it just a pure coincidence that immediately after they allowed you to open back up after Rona, the crime just went through the roof? They want nothing more than for all of the small businesses to be completely gone.
Parents, they bootstrapped up. We need leaders to bootstrap up, right? We need more hands on the ground.
Oh no, that bootstrap, it's kind of like conservative rhetoric. You can't say that.
Actually lead, do something.
This kind of crime happens so often, some Bay Area stores have removed ATM machines from their locations. Some stores no longer accept cash, only credit and debit cards to avoid robberies.
Okay, well, pretty interesting. That is a decent little look at a very short list of the recent happenings in Oakland. They didn't even touch on the cop that was taken out while they were trying to rob a weed dispensary in the middle of the night. I mean, there's so much more that could be said about this, but not bad. But the bar is really low for the mainstream media.